Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today, we're going to dive into Jamaica, looking to slash cannabis licensing processing times, but cannabis banking remains an obstacle. On the line with this is Dan Kimmis of Good CBD Products.
What you make of it, Chronic?
Honestly, this island is Jamaican me crazy. There's so many other better places like Puerto Rico that offer 4% corporate tax caps, 50% tax credits, 100% tax deductions. Nobody in Jamaica has terroir that is really worthy of being there. So it's a culture play to be there, but a very, very poor business decision, in my opinion. We'll get into Puerto Rico a little bit later. But diving into Jamaica, they have 22 licenses for cultivation, 14 licenses for retailers, 6 processors, 4 for research and development, and 1 for transport. They've got a supply chain on the island. They have culture for sure. But do they have the product to really be a global player? Do they have the production capabilities? Do they have the labor force? No, I don't think they do. I think this is a very quick play on Bob Marley and the Rastafarians, and that's it. I just don't think that outside of having, maybe a hotel where you can smoke some strains that are from there, outside of that, I just don't think that it's worth being there.
It's funny, the number of times we see, people playing a hand that is of limited advantage and trying to find a way to win with that hand, right? But from what I've learned listening to the Talking Hedge, it seems like, except for the branding opportunity, the marketing opportunity, it seems like there's better choices, brother.
Definitely. I think if you have a huge amount of cash and you're from, Canada and you have that capital markets to play with, then go for it. Just diversify, do whatever. Just like MedMen said, they can expand at any cost. They didn't care initially. And now it's really about valuation. But, why not have an entity on the island and just claim it's Jamaican? But a lot of these companies are going out there first and foremost, and they're going to lose, in my opinion. I just don't think that they're going to be able to produce quality or bring people in to compete with the likes of Puerto Rico and the tax advantages of being the only place an American business can go and not be taxed on income. And that's because they don't have congressional representation. You can't have taxation without representation. So there is no income tax in Puerto Rico. So due to Act 20, they've initiated a 4% corporate tax cap and 50% tax credits for property, plant, equipment, 100% tax deductions in some cases, making it the best place in the world to operate from. Whether that's research and development, bilingual call center, whatever your facility is, I would set up sales from there because that is your revenue play, right? So set somebody up, generate all your sales from there, and voila, off to the races.
Any idea what Jamaica's at?
I don't know what Jamaica's tax structure is. I know it's not even close. Apparently, they're having some issues on the island, even getting applications out. So it took 2 years just to get the applications out. So they're going to try and reduce that down to 6 months to be more competitive. They have a backlog of 233 applications right now. So conditional approving, I guess they're going to have to wait another 9 months to find out. But if that goes through, then they can get all of these applications through within 2 quarters. That would be a major breakthrough for the island because, island time is interesting. There's not a lot of things that happen there. It's truly a depressed area. I don't know if I would call the Caribbean a third world, country, if you will, but there's not a lot there. They can't really produce anything, grow anything. It's kind of sad, actually. It reminds me of the Mexican Riviera in Cancun, where you kind of have to drive through the slums to get to your nice little, beachfront bungalow. It's a depressed area. They need some capital. They need some investment. They need opportunities. So I'm more than down to go and move there 6 months, take advantage of Puerto Rico's residency program and reinvest 100% of that capital back into the community, and hopefully do that next year. Looking to raise $4 million for an IPO to take a cannabis exchange index, an ETF that's artificial intelligence backed, looking to raise $4 million and operate that from Puerto Rico. And so that's hopefully what I'm going to be doing next year, doing the podcast from the beach.
I like it. I like it a lot. I sat with some rich guys over the last couple of days out on the road, right? So I've been traveling around California and basically hanging out with investment grade people. And one of the things that's been very interesting is to hear these connected folks talk about their different political ties and the rumblings and the predictions as to, the next 60 or 90 days in the industry, some of the things that are going to happen in the U.S. at a regulatory and governmental level, the nature of a bureaucracy starting to move. I do think if you're a cannabis or a hemp-related business, it makes sense finding a place to operate because things are about to turn up some. And so, go to Puerto Rico, set up your main office, save some cash because you're about to make some cash.
And there could be some opportunities. There was the MORE Act that passed in a congressional committee yesterday. It doesn't really mean anything because it's not a Senate vote. Not a Senate vote, not a House vote, just a committee, but it does provide for the legalization and descheduling of cannabis. So it is a landmark opportunity where they at least met and passed that. So we'll see what happens down the road. I still think it's going to take a catastrophe economically to make that viable. They need the cash flow, but they also need a reason to not lose their constituents, right? There's some conservatives out there that want the money but don't want to lose the vote. So they need an excuse. Once there's an economic correction, count on that legalization pathway to kind of move forward. But in the meantime, there's some banking issues even with the islands. Whether it's Jamaica or Puerto Rico, you're going to be dealing with issues. And so Jamaica is trying to get banking, which is one of the reasons they can't move forward in the country. Banks are refusing transactions from legal cannabis businesses to protect their correspondent agreements with the U.S., where cannabis remains federally illegal. So, quote, the risk of losing their correspondent banking, they won't touch it.
Oh, normal business people can't even conceptualize what it'd be like to lose your banking, right? You're like, well, what do you mean? You can't lose your banking. Yeah, you can. Go turn a THC deal. See what happens.
Yeah, the U.S. has a huge amount of leverage. They can put any kind of restraints or restrictions or embargoes on Iran or China, tax tariffs, whatever, and especially with banking. So if you do something federally illegal in our country, we can put a lot of pressure. Obviously, that's impacting the island of Jamaica. So the chair of the Cannabis Licensing Authority said that the cannabis is the only industry that operates without a banking system and flourishes in an illegal one. And the truth is that banking is one of the major reasons they can't move forward in the country. So banking anywhere you're at is going to be difficult with cannabis, even hemp. And so with any developments, come back to the Talking Hedge. With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. By the way, if you enjoy the content, please show your support with the cushy gesture of $4.20 a month on the Talking Hedge's Patreon page. This will kind of help you spread the word. I've been asked to speak all over the world, from Toronto and Colombia, Spain, Miami, all over, Tokyo. But your support's important to me. I haven't monetized the podcast. I want to be as authentic and transparent as possible. I want to avoid conflicts of interest or even the perception of paid opinions. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or pay me on the Talking Hedges Patreon page, or don't, and I'm out.